Hello and welcome to Jump To It for IrishRacing.com and Betting Expert. I'm Shane Anderson, and today, of course, is day 4, the final day of the Cheltenham Festival. What a fantastic card of racing we've got coming your way. 7 races, of course, 3 Grade 1s. We've got the Triumph for the 4-year-old hurdlers, which is the opening event of the card. We've got the always interesting Albert Bartlett, which can produce a horse that goes on to really good things further down their career. And, of course, the big one, the championship race, the Cheltenham Gold Cup, which is race number 4 on the cards. We've got a lot to get through, and hopefully we'll see some fight back from the English. It's certainly been an Irish domination at levels that we've never seen before at the Cheltenham Festival. As I welcome in the team with Stephen Harris, Ed Quigley and Vincent Finegan joining me once again. Stephen, I'll start with you. It's unprecedented the way that the Irish have dominated the festival this year.
Yeah, it's incredible. I wouldn't want to be Paul Nicholls or Dan Skelton's cats, I must admit, because I suspect they've taken quite a kicking in the last few days. There's not been one on the radar for Nicholls. It's been an extraordinary week. And as someone who's napped third time lucky today, I really have fancied him and backed him at 20 and 16. My confidence is slowly draining away. You just sense there's going to be 4 or 5 Irish plots ahead of him, even if he gives his running. But it's a brilliant day's racing. There's loads of money around in the early markets. Gentleman Demi's been smashed in the last. Ellie May, Alboon Photo's now 5-2 tight. And in the first race, Zanna here looks one of the Irish bankers of the week. 5-2 a week ago, now 5-4 putting on. It's going to be a fantastic day of action.
Ed, what are you expecting today going into the final day, and how do you think the track will play?
Yeah, morning everybody. Yeah, it should. It's an exciting day of action once again, isn't it? Really, we've been discussing the Irish domination here. I've been down to the track this morning. It's a weird kind of weather here in Cheltenham. It's like a sea misty fret drizzle. It reminds me of the time I went mackerel fishing off the coast of North Devon, and the radar broke on our boat. And I basically stuck at sea, and all you could see was fog in a 10-yard circumference. It's that kind of day, really, and. It may be a case of trying to find winners. Might be English winners is looking through fog at the moment, to be honest with you. It's a cracking day's action. I don't think it will make too much of a difference to the ground, which has officially dried overnight to good to soft, good in places. Obviously, if this drizzle did keep up for we're 5 hours away from the Gold Cup, it'll probably just take the sting out the surface a little bit, but I'm expecting a perfect jumping ground, shall we say.
And Vincent, no doubt a bit of additional swagger from your perspective, being our resident Irish guru on the panel. But I've got to say, it has been amazing just to see the brilliant riding of Rachel Blackmore throughout the week. She is the standout star.
Oh, without a doubt. She was unbelievable yesterday. I was just saying about Alaho. Normally, you back a horse like Alaho coming down to the last 10 clear, and you have everything crossed at that stage, hoping they just get over it because clear the last, you win. Rachel, no worries whatsoever. She ensues confidence, not just in the horse, but in the punters as well. I think everyone was just relaxed looking at it. If Ruby was on it, I don't think I'd have been in the same frame of mind coming down to the last, because we've seen what's happened over the years. But Rachel is different gravy altogether. And I think today is going to be her coronation. She'll come up with something today, and she's just the darling of Irish racing and probably racing worldwide after what she's done this week. It's fantastic after the messy few weeks we've had in Ireland over the last month. So it's great to see Rachel has really shone this week.
Yeah, very well said. All right, great card coming your way. Let's get into it for day 4 at the Cheltenham Festival. And guys, we start with a small field for one of the Grade 1 contests. That's the JCB Triumph Hurdle, which is run over just over 2 miles. Of course, it's for 4-year-olds. And we often see horses really progress through this race, including your favourite horse, Stephen's Tiger Roll, who won this back in 2014. But Zanaher, as you mentioned, heavily punted so far, 5-4 favourite currently with Unibet. Quixilios at 11-4 with Bet365. Tritonic, who certainly has been well tipped by the guys on the panel in the previous weeks, at 7-2. Then we get out to Adagio at 16-1. So 3 horses dominating the market. Stephen, what are you doing with the opening race of the day?
I think this is a classic punter's dilemma now, this race, because all the evidence this week is that the Irish horses are at least a stone better than the English ones. Zanahir's form has worked out superbly. The horse who finished 5th behind him last time out has come out and won at 80-1. Saint Sam has run an absolute screamer in that handicap as well. So the form looks rock solid, whereas Tritonic, his defeat of Carzalupi, has been badly let down by that being beaten at odds on since. So the flip side to that argument is I was extremely keen on Tritonic until the start of this week. He was a really useful 99 rated horse on the flat. He's a strong traver. He will love good ground. He's got plenty of speed, and the hill will suit him. It's just that nagging doubt now at the back of your mind that the Irish form is so much stronger. That is now reflected in the prices. So the dilemma is, having thought that they were probably going to be 2-1 joint favourites, Zanahiyr is now understandably 5-4, and Tritonic's giving 4-1 a nudge. And at 4-1, you have to back Tritonic, and I think he will run a big race. But just that confidence has drained away over the last few days about the English runners.
All right, Tritonic on top there from Stephen. Ed, hey, you also have been very bullish about Tritonic on this program over the past few weeks. Are you sticking solid?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Steve he's pretty much summed it up perfectly there, really. The wave of Irish confidence, if you like. At the start of the week, we were poo-pooing it to some extent. The form book is perhaps suggesting it wasn't misplaced confidence, was it? And in the case of Zanahiyr and even Quigley, who's been well backed in, there's a lot of money behind these Irish horses, but Zanahiyr's form is stacking up. However, I mean, obviously, I've got vested interest here because I've been on Tritonic for months, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing this horse. And there is an argument even today; he's an eminently backable price at around the 72 touching 4-1 mark. And I just think, look, this is a horse. He was rated 99 on the flat. He was a runner-up at Royal Ascot. He chased home a subsequent Group 1 winner in another race. He'll love quick ground. Okay, people are poo-pooing the times and the form and everything he's done, but he hasn't had to come out of second gear in order to win yet. His performance at Kempton was absolutely brilliant. The way he quickened up from the back of the last was absolutely breathtaking. And I can forgive Casalupi some extent letting the form down because the jockey did lose his stirrups coming into the home straight. He was arguably beaten at the time anyway. But look, nonetheless, we know Tritonic's an excellent flat horse. He's taken this like a duck to water. Alan King, very good trainer, but this race especially, this is his mustard, if you like. He's won this race twice before. We went really close as well with the likes of Woolcon and Grametti. He's a brilliant trainer of juveniles. Spoke to Max McNeil a couple of days ago. He said if they're ever going to win the Triumph Hurdle, one of his favourite races, this is the horse they're gonna have to win it with, if you like. He's rated a stone better on the flat than Catch was, and he's looked just as good a jumper so far. So yeah, something's got to get these Irish horses beaten, and if Tritonic's dropping out the back of the television, then I might as well turn the television off and give up for the day, because I'd be really disappointed, at least if coming to the last he wasn't in there with a chance, because he is a pushing listed class flat horse who taken to hurdles like a duck to water.
Right, good push there for Tritonic. Vincent, are you in the Tritonic camp, or which way are you looking at?
I'd agree with the two guys. Normal year, yeah, Tritonic is a huge chance, but today's no chance, unfortunately. It's going to be another brave man's game here. You're just going to see the two Irish are going to dominate. Unfortunately, that's the way it's gone, and we've seen it all week. It doesn't matter what prices they are, how short they get, they just win. And the problem for me is which one. Zanahiyr, if you take his second last run in Fairyhouse, to me that was a freakish performance. He looked unbelievable that day. Quigley has been beating the similar horses, very similar form, which you'd think Zanahiyr is just a little bit better. The question mark, well, two question marks really. One is Zanahiyr, they've got a tongue strap on today. Not quite sure why that is. That's tiny little worry. The other one then is Quigley, it's got Rachel Blackmore on it. That's the problem, isn't it? So what do you do? She's just riding so well. Horses are running for her. She's having a beano of a week, and I can see punters getting stuck into her. I can see another Bob Ollinger here. She'll probably blow them away, but I'm going to stick with my original choice, which is Zanahiyr. I agree with the guys about Tritonic. Top class flat horse, done nothing wrong in 2 starts over hurdles. Normal year, I'd say that will win, and it looks great value. But I fell for Brave Man's Game the other day against Bob Ollinger and the other Willie Mullins horse, and it wasn't mapped. So I think you're going to see something similar, unfortunately.
All right, good push there for the horses at the top of the market. I'm also in the Tritonic camp. Again, it's hard to fault his form coming into this meeting. But can the English turn their form around of what we've seen over the past couple of days? So I am committed to Tritonic, but there is the Willie Mullins runner, Haute en Couleur, the French horse, now lining up here at a big price at 28-1. I think you could have something on it and get a run for your money. But Tritonic for me, as we recap the team selections for race 1, which is the JCB Triumph Hurdle, Tritonic, Zanahiyr and Tritonic for the team. It should be a fascinating race, and hopefully we'll go and see these horses progress on to bigger and better things in the seasons to come. Let's move on now to race number 2 on the card, and we've got the County Hurdle, a wide open affair here with at the top of the market, Ganapathy at 6-1 with Bet365, Champagne Gold at 7-1, Eclair de Beaufort at 9-1. All of those with Bet365. You can get 9-1 with Third Time Lucky, currently with Bet Victor, and then we get out to 14-1 or bigger for the remainder of the field. Stephen, you touched on earlier, you were quite keen on Third Time Lucky. Certainly does look, if he can bring his best form into this race, will be very hard to beat.
Yeah, I think he's going to run really well. He's got the grounds come right for him. He's a strong turn of foot. You can forget Musselburgh last time out. It was too soft for him and he made a bad mistake. He's got good course form. He ran a blinder in the champion bumper behind Fernie Hollow last year. Just came 4th there with a rough trip through. He finished 2nd to 4 Pleasure at Cheltenham. Previously when the winner stole 25 lengths. That one's come out and run well in the Betfair Hurdle. His form's solid. He's been trained for the race. He's fresh. Now the only thing, he's been 20 and 16. He's now 8. So from a punting point of view on the day, perhaps the value's gone out of him. The other one I was keen on, who is still a fair price, Edwardstone. I think 22, 25 to 1 each way. Extra place is almost guaranteed to give his running. His last run at Cheltenham, he ran really well behind one called the Shunter, who won the Greatwood and won yesterday, landing a monumental gamble. He wasn't seen to best effect at all there, dropped out the back and never landed a blow. He's a really good each way bet here, Edwardstone, because he'll get a hold-up ride in a strongly run race and not many will be finishing stronger than him up the hill.
All right, Third Time Lucky though on top there from Stephen. Ed, your perspective into race 2?
Well, Ganapathy's been absolutely smashed up for this contest, and he's the head scratcher, isn't he? Ran over 2.6 last time out, fell in a hole, and drops back down to 2 miles. Slightly unusual prep in some respects. I don't quite know what to make of him, but again, he's been backed. I mean, overnight, 9s into 9-2, as if defeats out the equation. I totally agree with Stephen on Third Time Lucky, and I've backed him at double-figure prices too. I think he's rock solid. The Yard have farmed this race, haven't they? Won 4 of the last 6 renewals or whatever it is, and but at a bigger price as well. So I tipped on the show about a month ago, 33s. I think you still get around 25s now. It's Time White, Paul Nicholls and Harry Cobden. I think he's a solid each way player. He really is. He reminds me a little bit what's called American Trilogy. He won this for the same yard going back about a decade or so ago. Really strong traveller. You watch the Betfair Hurdle, he finished 9th. That doesn't tell the whole story. He was favourite in running coming to 2 out and then just blew up after the last on soft, tacky ground in the closing stages. That was his first run of the year. Nicholls said he'll come on a bundle for it fitness-wise. I think there's much better ground to suit. And again, in a race which, if you've got to take the 2 or 3 at the top of the market, which the Irish are dominating, if you like, from a kind of betting perspective, I think there's loads in here who are unexposed and have each way claims. And I say Time White, also I flagged a month ago on the proviso the ground would come right for him. Well, the ground is right for him, so I cannot desert him now. Time White each way, but I wouldn't put anyone off Third Time Lucky. I think he's of the English challenge, if you like. He's rock solid.
All right, good push there, but particularly for Time White at the each way at a massive price. Now, Vincent, I think you've found one here at a big price too.
I certainly hope so. I think I've found a good one. Normally this County Hurdle, there's a few plot horses in it. I can't really find one of them. I know the Willie Mullins horse is a lot of money for it. I think it's just a case. He's probably a good horse, but I don't think he's been laid out with this in mind. So what I'm thinking is maybe the top weight has a chance. Petit Mouchoir, he's a very, very good horse in his day. It's been a long time. You've got to go back a good while to see him win a race. He hasn't won a hurdle race, I think, since four years now, but that was an Irish champion hurdle. He hasn't won a race. He won over fences 3.5 years ago in Punchestown. That's his last win, but he's a lot of very good place form, including last summer. He finished 3rd off top weight in a Galway hurdle. Now, that takes some doing. It's a very competitive race. He did that off 1.55. He runs today off 1.53, which is, now that was an Irish 1.55, which would make him probably about a 1.58 realistically. So he's off 1.53 today. He's been definitely given a chance by the handicapper. And he's got this Jordan Gainford claiming 7 off his back. Jordan Gainford we saw on the shunter yesterday. He was able to get the... I can see this horse run a big race. Can't see him out of the first maybe 5 or 6. I know a lot of the bookmakers are going 6, 7 places here. This horse is a big chance. He's 33 to 1. He's well worth a little punt each way, I would have thought.
Yeah, I like your theories there about him, because he does have proven top-class form deep into his career. So if he can get anywhere near that level, and as you say, he looks to be quite well in on his best form from a ratings perspective, I think he's going to be worthy of a shout. So well found there. For mine, I'm going with 50 ball each way. We spoke to Gary Moore on this program a couple of weeks back, and he said it was all ground dependent. I think the horse has got the perfect ground for him going into today's meeting. And at the each way, at around that sort of 14-1 mark, or a little bit bigger, I think he should certainly run really well. Let's recap the team selections for race number 2, the County Hurdle. Ed with Time Wide at 25-1 with Paddy Power. A third time lucky with Stephen. You can get 9-1 with Bet Victor. Petite Mouchoir there, 33-1 with Bet365 for Vincent. And I'm with 50 Ball, currently at 14-1 with our friends also at Bet365. The next Grade 1 is race number 3 on the card, and this is the Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle. And fantastic race. We've seen some high-quality horses win this in the past, including the mighty Bob's Worth. Statler's the favourite at 5-1 with Bet365. Equal favourite, in fact, with Fakira. 5-1 with William Hill. Tory Graph at 6-1, also with William Hill. Streets of Doyens at 7-1 with our friends at 365. And then it's 8-1 or bigger for the remainder of the field. Stephen, what are you doing in the Albert Bartlett this year?
Opposing a clutch of English horses, Shane, at the risk of being dismissive of nice horses. Adramel can't jump, all form on soft ground. The Warwick form's no good. Don't fancy him at all under Richard Johnson. Bang against him, win and place. Alaphilippe was in trouble at Sedgefield at a short price a couple of months ago. Could not have him on my mind. He's only 14-1. Barbados Bucks, I don't think has beaten anything. Lovely horse, going to be a cracking chaser, but we've yet to see one of Nichols on the TV yet this week. And there's another one down the bottom, 3 under through 5, who is a sluggard who's going to need 3 miles 4. He won't be quick enough on good ground. So line through all the English runners, basically. I think it's between Statler, who's likely to front run and get a positive ride and will love this ground, and the one I prefer, Facchiera, who ran an absolute blinder last time, first time over 2 miles 6, dropped out to see if he stayed. He definitely stayed. He's got an extra couple of furlongs here. The faster ground is an unknown, but I suspect he'll be fine on it. He ran well in his first start on good ground, so I think he'll take a lot of beating. He's around 6 or 7-1. I think it's a fair price in a race where loads of them are very hard to fancy.
All right, Fakira with Stephen... Keith Donoghue taking the ride. He's already had a winner earlier this week there from Stephen. All right, Ed, what are you doing in the Albert Bartlett?
I think this is wide open. I think of those at the top of the market. Streets of Doyen obviously beat Flooring Porter earlier in the season. Fortunately, the market's kind of latched onto that a little bit now. This horse was 20-1 5 days ago, is now as short as 6s, but has got his ground and has Cheltenham form. So of those at the top, if you like, I probably would go with Streets of Doyen. Interesting one, this. Yeah, I'm not tipping an Irish horse. I'm not tipping an English horse. I'm going for Wales to try and cause a bit of an upset here. And Pat's Fancy for Rebecca Curtis, who, to her credit, does very well with this type of horse. You know, all the best wins on the CV, of course, have come with like Lisdegard Oscar at Fisher's Cross. She does well with staying hurdlers. And Pat's Fancy, funnily enough, finished runner-up in the Albert Bartlett Novices Trial over course of distance at Cheltenham back in December. Ran a really nice race, staying on up the hill in the closing stages. I thought that was perfect, and he would come into this a fresh horse. Well, they decided on running at Doncaster. The ground was like an absolute ploughed field that day. It was horrendous ground at Doncaster. Horse never went a yard, and they pulled him up. But if you give that run, I think he's a big price here at 33.40-1. And of course, the eye catcher is Rachel Blackmore's been booked to ride, which is a really interesting jockey booking. It has to be said. I just think. I personally think she's just really wide open, and you go back to the history of this race. There's been some big upsets at 33.40-1. Back in 2009, we had a horse 150-1 be placed to Keith Goldsworthy's. It's not often always the classiest horse that wins this. It can turn into a battle of wills and staying. And I think back on this ground, Pat's Fancy is an each-way play, 40-1. Rachel Blackmore on board. If that finishes in the top 3 or 4, I'm happy.
Yeah, good push there for an outsider. Good work, Ed. What about you, Vincent?
I like Ed's choice there. Pat's fancy. I can see that running well on the ground. All right, definitely with the Rachel factor as well. This race has been a bookie's benefit for forever, basically. So it looks very trappy this year. I can't make much of it. An inroad into the Irish. They all look much of the same at the moment. Maybe one of them will turn out to be a star. It could possibly be that Fakira. I had felt that originally, but the fact that Jack Kennedy has deserted it for Torrygraph has me going in that direction. Maybe that's a horse that's improving. Cheap pieces first time, little bit of a worry again, but he's won his last two. Could be one at a nice sort of each way price. Certainly he'll run well. You'd imagine all of the Irish probably will, but I could see Ed's getting involved here with Rachel on it as well.
All right, but Torrygraph on top from Vincent. I found one at a massive price here, and that is Castle Robin. Going around at around 80 to 1 for Charlie Longston. Look, just gets tick ground, gets a tick for the distance, generally is quite a safe jumper, and it's just whether or not he's got the speed at the end of the race to put himself right in the frame. But I think at that price, he's worthy of an each-way gamble. So Castle Robin from me. Let's have a look at the team selections for the Albert Bartlett, the second of the Grade 1s. Ed with Pat's Fancy at 33 to 1. Fakira for Stephen on top to win. Vincent with Torrygraph, and as I mentioned, Castle Robin, whichever way you go, at a big each-way price of around 80 to 1 from me. Just a reminder, head to bettingexpert.com. You can still be a part of the predictor competition going into the final day. All you need to do for this free-to-enter competition is to find the winner of the runnings of each race on the card. The person who comes out with the most winners of the day gets the prize pool, £500 being on offer. And of course, if you're the overall winner of the competition throughout the week, you walk away with an additional £500. Head to bettingexpert.com and sign up for the predictor competition. Well, guys, the big race of the week is the well-child Cheltenham Gold Cup. It is the true championship race of national hunt racing, and what a field as we see Album Photo attempting to move into such rare territory as a three-time winner of the race. He's the market leader at 3 to 1 with Bet365. A Plutard at 7 to 2 now from Unibet. Of course, we've been talking about him for many weeks. He was a big price now in to clear second favourite. Champs at 6 to 1 with Boyle Sports. Manila Indo at 9 to 1 with Bet365. Then we get out to 12 to 1 or bigger. It's an amazing race each and every year, the Cheltenham Gold Cup, Stephen, and you've been quite bullish about A Plutard over the last few weeks.
Yeah, I think he'll run a really big race. I think he's just about favourite on form. He could improve past Album Photo. The only negative, Shane, he's been 6 and 13 to 2, painted on for the last month. He's now 7 to 2, mainly because of what Rachel Blackmore's done this week. But she's riding superbly. He'll love the ground. The run in Ireland that he's has worked out well with Allaho winning next time. He made up all his ground out wide on his own. It was a brilliant run. It was amazing. He then put his head down after the last and won. I'm not worried about the extra 2 furlongs. I think he'll get it fine on good ground. I think he's the most likely winner by some way. There's a couple of horses here that if they win or are placed, I'll have to get a job, Shane, to be honest. Native River on good ground. No easy lead. No chance at all. Richard Johnson propping into the fence is not for me. And if Royal Pagar wins, I will be absolutely stunned. They've chosen the wrong race. He's a flat track glider, been beating modest handicappers in England on heavy ground. I will be flabbergasted if he's in the first 10. I think it's the time of year Venetia goes missing from now on. The heavy ground's gone. I'll be absolutely stunned if that one's good enough. So it'll be worse than Tiger Roll. My phone will be disconnected, Shane. There'll be no more rub-downs if that's in the first 4.
All right, we might have to send a bit of a help around to your place just to keep an eye on you as the afternoon progresses, Stephen. What are you doing, Ed, for the big one of the week? Are you siding with one of the favourites?
Yeah, well, I'm just looking forward to Native River, Dead Heat and Royal Pagai, so we don't have to speak to someone the next week. Yeah, man. No, I agree with him. I couldn't have. I put a line through those two. It may be pigeonholing horses, but a lot good ground. I actually think Native River won't be able to lay up with Frodon. I think Frodon's naturally the quicker horse and has got his ground. And I don't think Frodon's got one way of running, and that's from the front, and it's proved successful because the horse has won here 6 times. And I just think on this ground, Native River could be lapped. Anyway, I am with Stephen on A Plutard. I can see the sizing John comparisons. The horses look better the further he's gone. The form of Christmas is working out pretty well. I think coming here, fresh horse as well, could be a bit of a master stroke. A few of these in here have had hard battles on very deep ground only as recently as 4 or 5 weeks ago. I think he's rock solid. I'm all over our Plutard. I actually think this race is really set up for Henry de Bromhead. It was interesting listening to Henry de Bromhead's interview this morning. It was straight. He was almost talking up Minella Indo more than our Plutard. It was trying to read between the lines, shall we say. It was as if there was something did come to light with Minella Indo last time, but he wasn't willing to disclose it. He kind of said, "Yeah, you'll see a better horse today. We've got that fixed," whatever that means. So I think this is a horse who, you've got to forgive him a couple of dodgy rounds of jumping, but all his best form has come at Cheltenham. He's been here twice. He's won a Grade 1. He's finished runner-up in another Grade 1. So for whatever reason, Prestbury Park does bring out the best in Minella Indo. So I'm de Bromhead, Readerfield, album photo. Well, we touched on it in the previous show. I just think he's very hard horse to gauge in the fact to use the boxing analogy, he could suddenly get old overnight. We wouldn't quite know because you just don't see him. It's not like he comes out Leopardstown and gets beaten 3 or 4 lengths, or goes to Downpatrick and gets beaten 3 or 4 lengths, and you start to see signs of a decline. He rocks up at Tremor at 1 to 10, then comes into this. Who knows? Look, he's a worthy favourite. It'll be a 3-time Gold Cup winner, which will be brilliant. I'm just going for the younger legs and the team that are flying this week. And I'm absolutely tired. Obviously, I've ticked down back Minella Indo at 16 to 1. Would I back him now at 8? Probably not. But I think this rests with Henry de Bromhead.
All right, it's a good point around Henry de Bromhead, because if he is successful in the Gold Cup, he's the first trainer to win the Champion Hurdle, Champion Chase and Gold Cup at the one festival. So good luck to him. Vincent, are you siding with him, or are you going with Album Photo?
I'm going with the tried and tested, realistically, Album Photo. Don't know why, you just have to have the faith in Willie. Willie does what he does, and the horses win at Cheltenham, and that's the way it works. This horse, it's hard to know how good he is. He's possibly not a star, in truth. He's won 2 moderate Gold Cups, and I think he'll win a 3rd moderate Gold Cup. There's 12 runners today. You can rule out, probably, as Stephen says, you can probably draw a line through 10 of them. Okay, the one question mark is a Plutard for me. If the horse stays, the form that the Bromhead horses are in, the form Rachel Blackmore's in, you're looking at maybe we've got a Rachel Blackmore against Paul Townend coming down to the last. Well, if that's the case, there's only one winner. So that's the question. I'm just not sure a Plutard will come up the hill. I just don't think it's bred to be a 3 1/4 mile horse. 3 miles is one thing. You've seen horses all down the years. 3 miles, they can win over that. Your Ken boys and that, they just won't stay up this extra 1/4 mile. Album Photo does. We've seen it twice before. We'll see it again. I think it'll be like Best Mate. He'll be a triple Gold Cup winner. Not the greatest Gold Cup winner we've ever seen, but you can't take it away from him. He'll make history today.
All right, Album Photo clearly on top there from Vincent. He makes a good case for the favourite. Look, I'm with A Plutard. I have backed 3 horses in this race. A Plutard, Santini with the headgear going on, and also Frodon, who's an old favourite of mine. But I just think the way that A Plutard was so strong late in the piece when winning last start, he should be suited here by the way the race unfolds at Cheltenham in the Gold Cup. So I'm siding with him, but it should be a fascinating race. Good luck to all if you're playing. Let's recap on the team selections. We're at the top of the market majority-wise here. A Plutard with Ed, Stephen and myself. Vincent with Album Photo. But let's hope the Grade 1 Wellchild Cheltenham Gold Cup delivers a very special race this year. We then move on to the Foxhunters Chase. Now, this contest is over 3 miles and 2 furlongs, and we've got Billaway as the market leader, 3 to 1 now with Bet365. Bob & Co. currently at 9 to 2. It came to pass at 15 to 2 with William Hill, and Staker Wallace at 8 to 1, also back to Bet365. 10 to 1 or bigger for the remainder of the field. Interesting race coming up, Stephen. How are you assessing it this year?
Not a betting race for me, Shane. A cracking spectacle. Professional jockeys in the saddle, which gives it a completely different dimension. Paul Townend's on the favourite, Billaway, who was a very expensive runner-up last year. The pounds, shillings and pence for him, but he got blown away by It Came to Pass. A 66 to 1 chance last year. They meet again, and I think Billaway will come out on top this time, but not a betting race for me. The one horse that has attracted the right money this week is Red Indian, who very, very shrewd point judges were taking 10 and 12 to 1 about. That price is still there. Perhaps that might be a bit of value. Has had a wind operation since we last saw him. Has been prolific in point-to-points, really impressing all the right people. So if you're looking away from the obvious, he might be the one. He's certainly been backed by the right people this week.
All right, not really a race you want to get too involved in, though. What about you, Ed?
Yeah, I'll be happy to sit this one out, to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever backed the winner of this race, so I'm obviously filling viewers full of confidence on the back of that, to be honest with you. Look, I was forced to pick. I just thought Bob and Co. for the home defence. You know, he's 3 out of 4 in Hunter Chases, arrives here on a 4-timer for the Paul Nicholls team. Watching the replays of his races, he was going noticeably left at a few obstacles. So whereas that can be viewed as a negative, not necessarily an issue coming to Cheltenham. If you see what I'm saying, especially if they tried to hug the rail and he keeps a tight line. So, yeah, my weakest tip of the entire week, it has to be said. But Bob and Co. won, 17 lengths hard held last time out for Mr. Nicholls. Sean Bowen, good jockey in the saddle. And, he'd be my tentative play here.
All right, we haven't got much confidence from the other two guys. Vincent, what about you?
No, very little here either, I have to say. Billaway is put up as a token tip. It's Willie Mullins. Favourite for the race last year, but it was well beaten by it came to pass. 10 lengths in it at the end. No real excuses. And I haven't said that. Billaway has been running well here in Ireland this year. Has won his couple of races. The two of Enda Bulgers, you couldn't rule them out each way. 2 McManus horses. They've both got form with Billaway as well. Storker Wallace and Stand Up and Fight. Storker Wallace was fancied here last year as well. I could see this going to anything, to be honest with you. The English horses, I wouldn't rule them out either. Nicholls, this tends to be his Gold Cup, doesn't it? In recent years, he's won this a couple of times, Asher the Calder and that. So, no doubt he'll be all geared up for it. Look, realistically, Billaway will probably win, but I wouldn't have a bet.
All right, not a lot of confidence from Vincent either. Look, I found one at a big price because this is a race that can produce an upset result over the years, including last year with the 66-1 winner. It came to pass. I'm going for Mighty Stowaway each way. I think we're getting around 33-1 this morning with Jack Kennedy in the saddle for Denise Foster. Last two starts have actually been quite okay. Know that Mighty Stowaway will get the trip. He's just got to jump safely, and I think at 33-1 I'm willing to take that chance. But again, I'm not screaming from the rooftops he's the best bet of the day, but I think at that price he's a touch of overs. Let's recap the team selections for the race, the Foxhunters Chase, and Bob and Co. From Ed at 9-2. Billaway 3-1 for Stephen, as is Vincent with Billaway, and as I mentioned, Mighty Stowaway for me, 33-1 each way. New addition to the meeting is the Grade 2 Mrs. Paddy Power Novices Chase, or I should say Mrs. Paddy Power Mares Chase, not a novices race. Ellie Mae on top is the market leader at 5-4 on. Colreevy's at 4-1, and then we get out to Shattered Love at 15-2, Magic of Light at 16-1, and then it's wide open 25-1 for the remainder of the field. New addition to the calendar, the Grade 2 Mrs. Paddy Power Mares Chase, Stephen, and we do have a short price favourite in Ellie Mae.
Yeah, it looks 2.5 runners to me, this Shane. Ellie Mae, Cool Ravy, and all the each ways are on Shattered Love. It does look 33-1 bar 3. I think they're the 3 runners, unoriginal. Again, the juice has gone out of the market. Ellie Mae was 7-4, 13-8 3 days ago. Now with what's gone on in the last few days, about 11-10 on, could even be shorter. She's got form with Allaho, who's franked it since. I think she won't mind the decent ground over this longer trip. She's going to be very hard to beat, but she is now rock bottom price. And the top one, Cool Reevy, I've just got a slight ground concern about her. All of her form is on heavy, soft ground. She ran on good once and got beaten 14 lengths. So that is a slight negative, but she's done nothing wrong at home so far this season. It's got a good shape for punters, this. It certainly did have earlier in the week, but maybe the juice has gone out of the prices a bit now.
All right, fair push there, though, for Ellie Mae, though, as the one to beat, but you probably could narrow this down from a broader view. What are you doing, Ed?
Yeah, totally. I mean, normally, you know, me, Shane, I'm trying to find some sneaky thing in here at 28, 33-1. It's 11 runner race, of which I think 7 of these have got absolutely no chance. It's going to need the big 3 or 4 to literally fall over in order to do so. I think it's a weak contest, stacked top heavy, obviously, with Ellie Mae, who's now odds on in the Allaho form, as meant she's shortened up all the time. But I'm with Shattered Love. Obviously, I've tipped on the shirt 14s. I'm still with her now. I think there's a bit of water has passed under the bridge since she won it at the Cheltenham Festival back in 2018. But the key word being she did win it at Cheltenham Festival at Grade 1 level. She's a class act, and yes, she was runner-up to Ellie Mae last time out, ultimately well beaten. However, there was a very soft ground over the minimum trip, and to her credit, she did gallop all the way to the line. She's back up to 2.5 on better ground. Put it this way, I think she'll give Ellie Mae more of a race than she did last time out, and she'll be there or thereabouts. And we know from CV that she does go up the Cheltenham Hill. So Shattered Love, I honestly do think it's a knocking each way bet, because I said there's so many likes of Zambarella, Mayena, Cut the Mustard, Chili Philly, really super. But I just think they're out of their depth, to be honest with you. They've got to find at least a stone or more in official figures. And so I think it's concentrate on the big three. And I think Shattered Love, given she's the only one in the field that's come in one at the highest level, she's around 7-1. I think it's just a knocking each way bet still.
I could push for Shattered Love there from Ed. Vincent, are you with the favourite?
I'm agreeing with the two guys here. Everything they've said is exactly the way I'd sum it up. 3 runners. Realistically, Ellie May will win. You'd have to think, all things being equal. 3 lengths off Alaho, that's good enough for me. She should win. She looks like she's been primed for this all season's been building up to it. I think she'll win. She's a very short price. I wouldn't back her at odds on, not with the fact that it is a mare's race for starters and it's a chase. No thanks. So I suppose if you really had to have a bet, you'd probably go Shattered Love each way. But maybe even there could be a possibility for saying do a forecast Ellie May to beat Shattered Love, because Cool Reevy probably does want it a bit softer. But Ellie May for me.
All right, Ellie May for Vincent, and I'm very much in the Ellie May camp. I think she's the best bet of the day, and I think she's a class above her rivals and will win. And I still think she's a touch of value at the current price. I had her marked much shorter going into the Grade 2 Mrs. Paddy Power. Let's recap the team selections here, and across the board we've got Ed with Shattered Love, who the guys have also given a good push for, but you can get 15-2 each way with Ed's selection Paddy Power. Ellie May from Stephen, Vincent and myself, and should be a great race for the first running of the Mrs. Paddy Power. And we then move into the final event of the week, and it's the Martin Pipe Handicap Hurdle, named in honour of one of the true greats of national hunt racing. And Gentleman to Me is currently the favourite, 10-3 with William Hill. Gabinaco at 11-2 for Bet365. Langadan you can get 7-1 with Paddy Power. Gallopin de Champs at 8-1 with Bet Victor, 12-1 or bigger for the remainder of the field. Stephen, you'd want to be coming into this race with a fair bit of steam, I think. It could be a tough affair to try and get out on for the final race of the week.
Well, usually the last race at Cheltenham is sort of 8-1 the field. You're scratching around, backing 20-1 chances, trying to get out of trouble or playing up your winnings. Amazingly now, I'm just looking on the exchanges. The front two, both Irish trained, unexposed plots. One's 3-1, the other's 4-1. Now, Shane, coupled, that's 11-8, the front two. 11-8 in a 25-runner handicap. Now, I can't ever get out of being a bookmaker. You're going to be forced into laying them, aren't you? 11-8. I mean, you think of all the things you take 11-8 about in your life, not in a massive field at Cheltenham on fast ground. But that being said, when we were doing the tips for the week, my two were Gabinaco, who was 8-1 at the time, and Gentleman to Me, who was 13-2. They're now 3-1 and 4-1. So again, the market's corrected itself. They're both unexposed horses who look extremely well in. Gabinaco in particular, if you watch that run back last time, completely unexposed in handicaps, nearly fell at the second hurdle, was soon out the back and was not given a hard time at all running on strongly. That's rock solid Irish form, which we know this week is stones ahead of the English. I think he'll run an almighty race. He's liable to end up being 5-2, something like that. Ridiculous price. I don't like Langadan, who looks the best of the English runners. I thought he was flattered off a pace collapse at Sandown in bottomless ground last week. He's well treated theoretically under a penalty, but this is 4 furlongs further on much faster ground. I'll be surprised if he's the grade of the Irish runners.
All right, but I like the point that you make there about this sort of becoming such a race that's now dominated by 2 horses. When you really look at the broadness of this race, just might be a way to tack it slightly differently. What are you doing, Ed?
Well, you know, when you've been playing darts after about 12 pints, you start to miss the ball. I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing here. Really. I mean, I think Stephen's making a lot of. I mean, if you'd gone back 10 years ago and you said that this race you were going to be going coupling up the front two at 11-8, you'd actually laughing. I mean, this is unbelievable, really. But it just wouldn't surprise you if they were the first 2 home, which just seems to be the kind of mantra for the week. But in true long shot fashion, I'm just looking for a few horses. I've actually backed 3 in this at big prices just because they got some course form and they've kind of run well here before. Dallas to Pit Dons is around 80s on the exchange. He was runner-up in this 2 years ago. He's off a similar mark. Ground should be fine. Thought he can run well. Eglantine de Soy for Paul Nicholls. She's got some very good form at the track. She won the Mayor's Novices Hurdle going back 2 years ago. Again, she's a massive prize. She actually finished runner-up here in December on decent ground. She's struggled in a bog since. I wouldn't rule out a big run from her, but I've kind of my tentative pick of the three which I've backed would be Mill Green for Nicky Henderson, only because this horse was only beaten 4 lengths in this last year when he placed, and he was nearly carried out at the last as well. And if you actually watch a replay of the race, I think he's in about 14th or 15th coming into the home straight, and he passes about 10 runners up the running. Clearly stays well. He's off the same mark as last year, and he's around the 40-1 mark. So, crikey, if you are relying on this to get out of jail, perhaps just turn the television off, because, I wouldn't be at all shocked if Gentleman to Me bolted up, and at least the market's suggesting that anyway. So, yeah, I'll back 3 at big prices. I'm on Mill Green, Eglantine de Soy, and Dallas to Pictons, 33-1 plus shots, and just hoping one of them from each trade perspective can land in the frame in the lucky last.
All right, good luck there. What about you, Vincent?
Well, I put up a token English selection here, Langer Dan. Basically, he's turned into a bit of value each way. He's probably going to be, the way the betting's going, he's already out to kind of 8-1. He could end up being a 10 or 12-1 chance. Should run well. He's like, we know he's well. He only won last week. He's £5 well in at the weights. He carries a £5 penalty, but it's gone up 10. I could see him being involved, but realistically, it's probably going to be an Irish win again. I have a little tip for a horse here called Fire Attack of Joseph O'Brien's. I'm told they think it's their one chance of the week to have a winner, and it's a big yard. They've plenty of good horses. You wouldn't rule it out. There's been a few quid for it already this morning from 14s into 10s. I could see it run well, but I'd agree with Gabby Nacco has a big chance, the Gavin Cromwell horse. Very hard to say. Would you have a bet here? Probably not. You wouldn't want to be wanting to or needing to have a bet at this stage. Hopefully we'll have got out earlier in the day with something else, because I wouldn't like to play in this one.
All right, fair assessment there. I'm going with commanding presence at the each way, particularly if you're getting each way odds back to 6, possibly 7 places. Currently at around that sort of 25-1 mark for Henry de Pomfret. Overall form lines going into a race like the Martin Pipe, to me, suggests that he's going to be right in the thick of things if he's anywhere near his best form. He was good to win first up this campaign. I didn't mind the run last time out. So at the each way, commanding presence appeals for me. Let's recap the team selections for the final event of the Cheltenham Festival for 2021. Ed with 3 long shot selections in the race, but Mill Green pushed at 33-1 there each way. Gabinacco now into 11-2 for Stephen. Vincent with Langer Dan at 7-1, and as I mentioned, I'm quite keen on commanding presence each way at 25-1, which you can get with Bet365. It's been a massive week, guys. First of all, job well done. It's been great working with you, but let's try and blast out on the final day with a nap. Best bet of the day, Stephen. We'll start with you.
Third time lucky's my nap. I think he's going to run a really big race. I love the ground in the 155, and I really hope A Plus Tard can win the 305. It'll be a fantastic end to a fantastic week for Rachel Blackmore, and it's just what racing needs at the moment.
Great work, Stephen. Good luck to you. What are you doing, Ed, as your best for the day?
No, I'm sticking to my guns. Tritonic. I might even go in again if he touches 5-1. I think he's the class horse, and he can show his class on decent ground. But if you want ones at bigger prices, obviously I think Time White in the county give each way back as a run. And my next best each way, Shattered Love. I cannot see how she's out the 3 if she stands up in essentially a 3-runner race. So that's my view. So yeah, Tritonic and Shattered Love.
All right, great work, Ed. Good luck again to you today. And Vincent, from your perspective, who's the nap?
Well, the nap for me is probably Rachel Blackmore, whatever she rides, any day, everywhere. She's just different class to them. I think she'll have a great day today. She'll ride a winner somewhere. Hopefully it'll be the Gold Cup. It'll be nice to see, but if not her in the Gold Cup, I'd like to see Alboom Photo bring up the hat-trick. For a bet, I'm going to go for Petite Mouchoir each way. I think if you can get 6, 7, 8 places here, well worth a punt at a big price. Should be on the money somewhere. It loves good ground. It's loads of form in champion hurdles. That's the one for me as an each way play today.
Fantastic working with you, Vincent. Good luck today. Well, that is the selections for the final day of the Cheltenham Festival. Hopefully we've found a few winners today. It's certainly been a good week, a great week from a coverage perspective, but hopefully we'll see something pretty special on the track as we round out the biggest week of National Hunt racing. My best of the day, I'm quite keen on Ellie May in the Mrs. Paddy Power. I think she'll be too good for them. Make sure you head to irishracing.com. You get all the news, cards, tips, of course, great odds. It's a fantastic site run by Vincent and the team, and they'll have a fantastic wrap of the Cheltenham Festival. And also make sure you head to bettingexpert.com. You get Stephen Harris's selections every day. today with his best and value bet, not only for the Cheltenham Festival, but for other meetings in the UK. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage here on Jump To It as we've worked our way through the Cheltenham Festival. If you are betting today, wish you the best of luck, and we'll see you again very soon.